It's the aftermath of the 2024 general elections, a very crucial election that has given Ghana its new president in the person of John Dramani Mahama. This will be his second coming, by the way. But then, after the announcement by the EC chairperson, Jim Mensah, on Monday, December 9, there have been a number of pockets of violence. We want to discuss that here on Election Desk, here on Ghanaweb TV. My name is Echiatisu Adib. Saani is a security analyst. He's actually executive director for Jatike Center for Human Security and Peace Building. Adib, how you doing?
Okay. Very well.
And thank you. I mean, during the coverage, especially, you were giving us a lot of news from updates actually from up north where you were. How was it for you?
It was very fulfilling, and it brought out the journalistic instincts in me. I don't know if you're aware I'm a journalist.
Okay.
I'm a member of the GJ. I've worked with Metro TV full time.
Oh, I see.
I've worked with TV3. I'm currently the general manager for Radio Extra.
Great.
A station I co-own with my sister.
Okay.
And it's based in the north.
Okay.
So surely it was very fulfilling for me because I do appreciate and understand the intrinsic value of the media when it comes to consolidating our democracy.
Okay.
A democracy without a functioning media is not a democracy.
That's
it is
true.
something else. And that is why I was very perturbed about the EC's decision to limit the number of media houses to 12.
Yeah.
So when they came under public criticism, they realized that it was a silly, joke that they had to rescind. So for me, it was quite an experience. I mean, getting into the thick of affairs, getting to understand the issues firsthand. Because on a normal day, if you call me to analyze issues,
yeah,
I would also call my contacts on the ground to get
but
to
this
know
time
what's
you were
going
there
on.
yourself.
But this time around, I got there myself. For example, I got information about a vehicle that was intercepted, a Land Cruiser with guns in it.
Yes.
So I took the trouble to go. I realized it's not as they described it, but they were national security operatives. Like, they introduced themselves to me, even though they didn't show me an ID card.
Okay.
And it was 2 pistols they had on them that the mob had seized from.
Oh, so just 2 pistols.
Yes, just 2 pistols.
But on another day, you would have just taken it as okay.
Yes, ammunition. The way it was said, I thought I would even find an RPG. But when I went, I realized they were 2 pistols, and the key to the vehicle had already even been seized.
Oh, okay. I see. Well, but there was a lot happening security-wise. You went around places like Yendi, Nyankpala. Tell me, you've shared some of the details with us, but especially what were some of the things that you saw or heard, security-wise?
Well, a lot, but I have never seen such abuse of power through money in my life. Like, you enter a territory, and you would realize that yes, this candidate is truly in power.
Okay.
The use of money to induce voters was just fantastic, so to speak. You go into a community, you see pickups carrying motorbikes for distribution. In some cases, you see trucks filled with thousands of bags of rice and cooking oil for distribution. And interestingly, some of them came late on the eve of election.
On the eve?
Yes, on the eve of elections. Money was shared. A lot of goodies was distributed. And there's so much poverty in Ghana, I must say. You go to certain communities, and maybe your needs, you want to get the Range Rover, I mean, you want to go to the next level, you want to have a house at this Legon. Believe it or not, some needed just soap and Maggi.
To cook?
Yes, soap and Maggi and salt.
Is that to set up maybe like a business?
No, the business. Yes, you have every right to ask me that question, Eche. As a means of survival, they just needed these basic things. And that was what was happening.
Wow.
They would go to the lorry park and be sharing these people and be telling them that you have to vote for us. And on election day, there was this individual on the UDS campus at Nyankpala. You would go vote, take a picture of it, come for 50 Ghana cedis. I think that is what even started the Tolong issue, because he was confronted by the NDC candidate,
yes.
who said, look, you are not from this area, you don't vote here, why are you doing this? Then his boys started firing into the air. That was the first incident. Then they came back harder. That resulted, unfortunately, into the death of, one person. So the use of money was so prevalent. It was so prevalent.
But this money thing, is this something we could ever get around? Because you're mentioning basic things as Maggie, just to get by. And like that question I was asking, if it was to start a business, maybe that would have been. But these are just, it's to cook. Isn't it worrying?
Yes, it is worrying. And it's indicative of the level of poverty in the system. A lot of people live on less than $1 a day. Youth unemployment is also quite high. I don't usually believe in the unemployment statistics. I mean, you cannot tell me that the whole country, only 14.7% or so are not with employment.
You believe it's higher?
Way higher. I mean, I believe it's way higher. On a daily basis, I have people calling to ask if they can, work for me, or if I have any opportunities elsewhere they can work. As a result, I mean, a lot live in abject poverty. So when politicians come around with such gifts, they are able to convince the people. But it would interest you to note that you can deceive some of the people some of the time, but not all of the people all the time. Some took the monies, they took the goodies, but still didn't vote for.
Is that what happened in this election?
In some cases. In most cases, as a matter of fact. Some, went with a lot of goodies. Then we advise the people, look, never allow yourself to be influenced. And that is the essence of my being in the North or in the first place, to engage in voter education, and also to train the observers that we had put together to be able to, observe the election. Unfortunately, Madam Jean Mensah thought we were not worth it, and never gave us.
You didn't get that, but you still went ahead to do your work, and
yes,
I think you even did a good job. I mean, we got more from you this time, even maybe more than
the
earlier.
The good thing is, we had other civil societies who were not happy about what was going on.
Okay.
So they offered us their accreditation.
Okay.
In fact, I even had it in excess. In the end, I even realized I didn't need it, because you go, your face is recognizable. They make you out. They allow you in, and in the end, it was smooth.
So generally, there was a lot of violence, tensions around. In fact, yesterday, I'm saying yesterday to mean the day, as in Tuesday, the Greater Accra Regional Coalition Center, which is the old office of the EC, for instance, was ransacked. There were a lot of young men there because there was the results from Ablekuma North, for instance. That place was vandalized. We have cases from Techiman South where a police station, ballot papers were burnt. Damongo, Tepa, Ewutu Senya is scattered ahead of this election, with all the indications and all the things that we heard, the preparedness of the security forces and all of that. Did you anticipate this widespread nature of violence?
I did. Because largely of the actions of the EC.
Okay.
You see, AJ, I mean, I've studied interest beyond security. I'm a political scientist. I studied political science at Legon. And I've done a lot of work on elections in other countries. And I do know one critical ingredient to add to the soup to make it taste good during an election is trust and confidence in the process.
Okay.
When you look at the violence that happened, just put it together, go deep, and you would get to understand that a lot of it had to do with people not trusting the Electoral Commission. That is why we said, as civil society, the people listen to us more than they listen to the politicians. When we talk, they believe us because we are with them. We don't do politics. We say it as it is. So if you give us the opportunity to observe whatever people's perception is, we would come out and tell them, no, it was done well. So please don't complain. Okay? But because of the posture of the EC, it further exacerbated and validated people's existing suspicions and perceptions about the Electoral Commission. So people made up their mind that, look, they want to cheat in favor of the other side. And there was also a certain act that had a national character. When the ballots are being counted and you realize that it's not going your way, find a way of introducing reserve ballots into the system.
Which are foreign.
Foreign, completely foreign. And it has happened, I've catalogued it, at different places nationwide. It happened at Henry Cote's Ayawasu Central. You see, after the counting, they put all of the ballot papers in an envelope and seal it before dropping it in the ballot box.
Yes.
Okay. Now, when all of the ballot boxes came to the collation center, from nowhere, new ballot boxes came in, and the material in it was loose. They were not in envelopes. And when the people agitated and broke the ballot box, they realized a lot of it was even photocopies. Something similar happened at Tolum,
Okay.
Karga. And the case of Baba Sadiq is a criminal case. And I hope that those unscrupulous EC officials involved are punished. They wanted to steal the thing from the young man. It was so obvious. You create new pink sheets with the connivance of electoral officers who are supposed to be neutral and ensure the right thing is done, and you try to steal it from the young man. That is criminal. That is dangerous. Okay, so all of these is what is making people think that, no, the EC had taken his side. So it was in the interest of the EC to ensure that Senko, Jetike Center, and the rest observed the elections.
So you think the EC didn't do much, didn't do a lot of work in ensuring that they dissuaded people's minds of the distrust?
Yes, by their deeds and words. How can a deputy EC boss, as a bossman, say NDC is a threat to democracy? No matter what the NDC does,
he's expected to be neutral.
Exactly. Sometimes they get on your nerve, perhaps. You deal with it carefully. Mm-hmm. And when we're also denied the accreditation, he said a lot of lies. I told him in the face on YouTube, I said, you are lying. Okay? Because they said, there were a lot of civil societies that had applied and we couldn't give all. So what criteria did you use? Because before the election, I was in Tamale and our representatives were at the EC headquarters. Then they were told to come the following day at 9 a.m.
Okay.
9 a.m. they were there. They sat until 6 p.m.
9 a.m. to 6?
To 6 p.m. Then Jean Mensah appeared from nowhere. Why are you here? Why are you still here? Is anyone attending to us? They said, yes, one of the commissioners is attending to us. I said, what is it about? They said, it's about the accreditation. Oh, okay, from which institution? Then they mentioned, how many do you require per institution? They said, like 50 to 100 is okay. It's like, okay, they will attend to you. It's not a problem. Then that commissioner, who is a reverend, I think.
The woman?
Yes, the woman, who is supposed to attend to our reps, went into a meeting with the EC boss, maybe to firm up things, give it to them. From 6 p.m. to 8 p.m., then appeared and told my people that we are sorry, we still stand by our earlier decision. So the people asked, okay, so be it, but can you have the courtesy to tell us at least one reason?
They didn't give you any reason.
They said, we have CSOs we work with already. And the guy said, there's a first time for every, even EC, at a point, it was your first time to organize elections in Ghana. But if it is people you work with already, CENCO, the Center for Conflict Resolution, has been monitoring elections since 2008, even all the elections, including the last Asin North by-election. So if it is based on that, then we are overqualified. And it's led by none other than General Arnold Kwenu, the first ECOMOC commander, who is a statesman. We were chasing this thing with him until he died last Monday. You see, so I think their posture is wrong. And I'm hoping that going forward, would sanitize the electoral
But
commission.
when we come back, my question to you will be whether or not Ghana is a lawless country. I'm asking this because we have security apparatus in place, but then we've still been able to see a lot of violence across. My guest is Adib Saani. He's a security analyst. When we come back, I'll give you more. I'm here with Adib Saani. He's a security analyst. He works with Jatike. He was actually around the northern parts of the country, traveled quite a number of constituencies during these elections. Adib, I wanted you to answer this question just before we went on the break. Are we a lawless country?
I wouldn't say so, because if we were, I don't think we could have come to work today. Some muggers would stop us in the streets and seize our clothing, even our boxes, you know. But there is some level of lawlessness, especially within the political scheme of things. Some time ago, a friend of mine was on a lighter note telling me that in Ghana, if you fall foul of the law and you don't want to be held to account, you want to be left off the hook, find a way of connecting it with politics, because there's always a tendency of the police dealing with politicians with kid gloves.
Okay.
And that is a fact. You know, when it's political in nature, the police tend to be very cautious. But when it is you and I,
then
would be in
and I ask that question because there's a trend, right? Now, after John Dramani Mahama was declared president-elect, then you heard all these stories of people going to places, Ghana Gas. People are going to some NADMO offices. They are looting, they are vandalizing, things like that. It's a trend that we saw in 2016. That's what I want to find out. Why is it that during this period that's supposed to be a transition period, then we see these kinds of things? What's informing these things?
Okay, so first of all, for the records, let me condemn what is happening in no uncertain terms. It is repulsive, it is disgusting, it's lawless, it is criminal, okay? However, AJ, it's not the first time.
Yes.
You remember 2016? When some besieged the Thermoport,
yes,
the toll booths,
yes,
the Tamale Teaching Hospital, the toilet facilities.
Even Ghana Gas at the time, the same.
You get me?
Yes.
And so it has become more like a norm. And it's very unfortunate, because a civilized society doesn't behave that way. Now, as a criminal researcher, I have taken the trouble to go beyond the emotions to get to the bottom, to understand scientifically what really the issue is, what would make people act in the manner that they're doing today. And I have realized that what is happening is as a result of the politicization of technocratic public institutions that are supposed to be manned by technocrats with special skills.
Okay.
For example, the Ghana Gas, energy experts, petroleum experts, communications experts like yourself can run it, okay? But if you bring in someone like Owusu Bemba, who is not a technocrat, who is a politician, goes on radio and TV in the name of Ghana Gas, spew out uncouth language, it's a loose cannon. What you are doing is subconsciously dragging Ghana Gas into the political fray. So instead of the Ghana Gas seen as a technocratic institution, it now becomes what? A political institution. In some cases, in fact, a friend of mine, he's from Tamale, like I am. When MPP took over, he went to work. He came back. He lives in a government bungalow.
You're talking about 2016?
Yes, his things were outside. But yeah, he should look for a new place. There are parties.
And this was just after an election was called?
Yes, yes. And a lot of state institutions, they complain, from the airports to the ministries, to the departments, to the agencies, to the special public service organizations, are complaining that once you are seen as belonging to the other political party, you are reduced to a second-class citizen. Some of them complain about being arbitrarily posted. And I am a victim of that, by the way. even though I'm not a politician.
Now, how's that?
I spoke about Mr. Domlevo. I said, if you, and I quote the headline, I think it was published on your portal. If you vilify Domlevo for fighting corruption, you are not a true son of the land. I didn't say if you criticize him. You can criticize him, but if you fight him for fighting corruption, then you are not a true son of the land. Then I received a call from my office. Then I was with the Ghana Integrated Financial Management Information System, GIFMIS.
So your story was from 2021.
Perfect.
It actually says you are not a true son of Ghana if you vilify Domelevo.
Thank you.
19th March 2021.
Perfect. So when I said that, it didn't go down well with some people. So I was invited to the office. The project director was there, the administrator was there. Then he showed me on his phone. Did you say this? I said yes. Then he was very candid. I have orders from above to get rid of you because you are making government unpopular. I was like, it's just an opinion.
Where did you used to work? Where was that?
The Ghana Integrated Financial Management Information System,
state?
GIFMIS, is under the Ministry of Finance.
GIFMIS,
It's a project.
Yes.
And they told me they have orders. He told me I have orders from above to get rid of you because you are making government unpopular. How am I making government unpopular? Because the president says we should be citizens and not spectators. And I didn't say anything treasonable. So I said, okay. So they will take action against me. I said, fine, that's okay. But guess what? You wouldn't be sacked. They would reduce you to nothing. All my allowances were stopped. I come to the office on Monday morning. The office is empty. I see the cleaner. Omo Wahimfa. Oh, they've all traveled to Royal Sanctuary. They've traveled to Aqua Safari for an offsite. Me, who was a communications officer on the project, I didn't know about it.
So you were made redundant?
Absolutely. Now, outsiders came to do all my work. I was reduced to reading newspapers. It was a hard thing to do. So, then later, they realized that, all of this is not affecting because they wanted to reduce you to nothing. It was later that a certain chief from the eastern region was sent to my mother organization, which I cannot mention at this point, for some personal reasons, to tell them that they don't need me on the project any longer, and so I should be withdrawn. That is how come I was finally withdrawn. So we have consistently turned public organizations,
into
people who are supposed to be technocrats, have been reduced to nothing. Then you bring a politician who is an SS leaver, no experience, no nothing, and make the person the boss of all the development agencies. The person is the boss. All the professors, the doctors are reporting to. What would the person bring on the
It's
table?
interesting you are talking about this, but I also want to find out, there's also the bit about the politicians, like you're saying. When especially we tie them into this violence, we are seeing young people going around destroying, causing mayhem and things like that.
It's wrong.
Have
There's
they
no
done
justification.
enough?
No, I don't think. But you see, the NDC, I understand, has issued a statement. They've condemned it.
I've seen one
the
too from
president-elect.
yes, vice president as well.
Good.
Has also done
Yes, yes. It is unacceptable. You can't allow that to fester. But MPP is still in power. Let's not make any mistake about that. They control the military. They control the police.
But they say
Why
there's a transition period, so there are limited things that they could do.
No. There's no limited. They still transact. They are still in power until 7th, the midnight of 7th. Okay.
Of Sith,
rather.
Yes.
So from 12:01, 7th, you are in charge. Okay, but for now, it is the MPP that is in charge. But I'm not discounting the important role the NDC can play in that regard. They should continuously, it's not an event, it should be a process. Continue appealing to their people. It is not in your best interest to destroy, because guess what? There are some individuals who might have engaged in corrupt practices. They are looking for ways to destroy evidence. So when you attack search a person's office and destroy, you've done the work for the person. So it's not in your interest to go about destroying property which you are supposed to inherit.
Yeah.
After the sixth, you know. So it's quite unfortunate, and I'm hoping that the police would be able to not just arrest, parade them on their way to courts in handcuffs to serve as a deterrent to others who think, oh, my government is in power, I can do as I wish.
There's a transition team now that has been named by the president-elect. Yeah. We have Asiedun Ketia, Julius Debra, Fifi Kwete, Callistus, Valerie Sawyer, Gozitano, and the like. Is this a comprehensive team to handle such a transition? Is there something missing?
Yeah, well, they are experts. They are politicians. They are seasoned. But I don't know who would handle security. Because when you look at the transition team for the MPP when they were coming in 2016, they had persons in charge of with their designations. For example, Nitubu was for defense, and we had for interior. Kandapa was for national security.
Even now there is that, because I see from the MPP side, yes, there is exactly interior there.
Yes, because that is what the Act says. Okay.
So it's Act 845.
Good. Yes.
Ghana Presidential Transition Act 2012. So which aspect of?
So when you look at the composition, the outgoing president is supposed to appoint some individuals. The one in charge of the presidential household, that is the chief of staff. Then the defense, interior, national security, and co. And there would also be the national security coordinator.
Yes.
But there are some who are already core members. The head of the civil service, the head of the local government service, as well. Okay. Now, on the other hand, the Act says the incoming would have to appoint the same number of persons as appointed by the outgoing. But they didn't say with the same credentials.
Okay.
So what NDC is doing is not against the law, just that they haven't indicated who is in charge of what. But I'm sure when they meet, they'll be able to clearly, define. And the functions of the transition team is very important. But of paramount interest to me is the stock taking, the lands. How many they are, how many would be handed over, the cars and all that. Because at this time, some unscrupulous individuals will be up to no good. Okay, but I'm hoping that there will be cooperation amongst them, and they'll be truthful with one another as much as possible. The unfortunate thing is, we don't have a solid, robust assets register for government. Under the PFM Act 921, whatever, if you are purchasing a car, you have to do it through the gift system. Okay. However, they don't do it through the gift system. So in the end, you wouldn't even be able to know at this point in time how many cars that government have.
Yeah.
So people just drive home with their cars and that is it.
They don't return it.
In some cases, people who head institutions, when they are going, sell those cars to themselves. That's a clear case of conflict of interest.
We're running out of time, but I want to just get this. This is going forward. I mean, we have a new president in waiting. And especially with what we've experienced in the last few days, security-wise, what do you anticipate to be the kind of security apparatus that we would have? Will it get better?
I'm hopeful it will get better because we have a lot of lessons to learn. I do hope that the right persons are appointed. People with industrial expertise so far as security is concerned. The threat of terrorism is still very high, but I do hope that the focus on our security would be on human development, not Rambo Buga style of going to arrest people. I think that is the false line. I mean, we think national security is all about bundling people into vehicles, blindfolding them, and engaging in all manner of, lawless behavior. Human security is about ensuring that tomatoes is not overpriced at Makola markets. The price of onions is stable. The price of bread is stable. It's about the rights of women, children, the disabled, protected. It's about the rights of marginalized people, protected. You know, it's about people having access to basic necessities of life. That is the very essence of security. Not Rambo style holding walkie-talkies and gallivanting all over the place. And I do hope that this government would place priority on human security, develop the people, which I must say is a prerequisite to ensuring better fiscal security for the whole country.
Adib, thank you very much. As
Thank you,
always, Adib Saani is there as a security analyst. Actually, he's executive director, Jatike Center for Human Security and Peace Building. This has been Election Desk here on Ghanaweb TV. You can go to www.ghanaweb.com. We have news there, news for you in business, sports, entertainment, what have you, even in politics. Until another time, my name is Echi Atisu. Be safe.